Hey guys, I just got back from seeing the movie Priest. If you haven't heard of it, that's okay, because it's really horrible. It stars Paul Bettany, who is in actually a lot of these kind of strange religious movies, like that movie Legion. But this one was slightly better than Legion, which isn't really saying a lot. So, it's based on a Korean comic book, but originally, I guess, instead of vampires, it had angels that had fallen, which actually sounds kind of cooler. So basically, it takes place in an alternate world where humanity and vampires have been at war for generations, and it has essentially devastated the entire planet, leaving it in this like state of crap wholeness. Bettany plays a veteran warrior priest who were trained to fight the vampires. And then there's, I guess, the war between them sort of fizzles a bit, and then he finds out that his niece has been kidnapped by said vampires, and he breaks his vow to stop killing them to go and hunt them to find his niece. The hunting part is actually really fun. There's lots of explosions and lots of head cutting and vampire heads rolling on the ground and neat stuff like that. But then it sort of just ends without ending, and it wasn't very good. So the good stuff, I actually really liked the original story. The idea of humanity and vampires fighting is something that I think is kind of popular in our culture right now, and I actually really enjoy it. And then using the church to make these priests that fight the vampires, that's really kind of a cool idea. And there's also this really kind of interesting underlying religious dystopia going on in the society where the church runs everything that goes on. There's these slogans all around that says if you go against the church, you go against God, and there's all of these, mandatory confessions, and people just kind of walk around robotically doing the symbol of the cross and everything, and that's just a really neat addition to the movie because I love religious dystopian movies. I think they're really fun. Really fun. And also, what I usually love about movies when they try and merge together two different genres, I usually really like that. Like, for example, Firefly, where they do the whole sci-fi and western thing. I really love it. I think it works really well, but they kind of tried to do that in this movie too, and it did not work very well at all. In fact, it was the opposite. It just seemed like they were trying to steal too many little things and put it all into one little package, and it just didn't work. It's pretty bad that one of the things that I can say that's good about the movie was actually not good about this movie. So that brings me to the bad stuff. So what did I like? The story, kind of. The bad stuff, the movie relies on a lot of really lame theatrics. That makes it kind of entertaining. It's fun to see stuff blow up, and it's fun to see vampires, except they're not real vampires, but I'll get to that. Well, real vampires, you know what I mean? Instead of sticking to a really interesting sci-fi plot, they used all of these ploys to try and make it more interesting to the audience, and it just totally ruined it. Theatrics do not make up for bad writing. Also, about the vampires, they weren't like the fun, perfect vampires like that blonde one from True Blood. No, they're like these weird, grotesque vampires that run around on four legs and they don't have any eyes and they growl and they snarl and they're really gross. Not cool. And there's no explanation as to where these vampires came from, why they are, the way they are. They're just sort of there. Didn't like that. Additionally, the 3D, total waste of time. Don't even know why they bothered. It was a huge waste of money for everybody involved, including, the viewer. The soundtrack was absolutely horrible, and soundtracks make a really big difference for me. This one was really bad. The dialogue was total crap. The acting was not very good. The only actor in it that I recognized was Paul Bettany and Christopher Plummer. But, he's hardly in it at all, and Paul Bettany is just sort of doing the same old thing that he does. It just wasn't very good. The whole thing, as a whole, it was just unoriginal, and would have been a lot better if they would have stuck to the original Korean storyline with the fallen angels, and if they would have, used a little bit more time to flesh out the characters and make a more interesting dynamic with them rather than just, immediately going and blowing up trains full of vampires and throwing their heads on the ground with lots of explosions and blood and stuff. Just didn't work. So it was pretty bad, and that's all I'm really going to say about it. Don't waste your time. I'm not going to waste more of my time talking about it. I'll give it 2, maybe 1.5 weird eyeless vampires out of 5. So I recommend just watching the trailer, realizing that the trailer doesn't make any sense, and assume that therefore the movie won't make any sense, and that assumption will be correct. So then don't go see the movie and spend your night doing something much more productive and fun. Okay? Bye.